Amen.
Memorial Day weekend. People are going to be, or have gotten in their cars, sampling potato salad recipes, seeing who's got the best pulled pork sauce in the family. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to motor up to my home state of Vermont. And as some of you know, I love collecting funny little signs, sayings from the roadside as I motor around. And this particular trip, I got up into what's called the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont. And there are more cows in the Northeast Kingdom than there are people. Vermont gets very rural very fast. And you can go many miles without seeing a country store. So when you pass a sign, you notice. So here I am in the middle of nowhere, and I see one of those self-storage companies just pop up on the side of the road with all those little doors where you can rent to put things in. And it said, Bob's Extra Rooms, self-storage. And directly next to it was a brick building with the seal of the state of Vermont on it. I'm scratching my head. Then I see the sign. It says, Vermont Department of Surplus Land. Okay. Another interesting farm family, very proud of their farm, pretty good-sized farm. Have a nice sign out front, beautifully landscaped with flowers. Odd combination. It said, The Savages Farm, run by the Bullies family. And then, though, it's those little country stores that have the signs you can change, little plastic one with the black lettering on the white, and let you know what special's going on. One of them said, Worms, slugs, and prime rib. The other one I'm hoping is two separate items and not a description of the same item, but it said Night Crawlers Pizza by the Slice. And then my favorite, now we're in the middle of nowhere, remember, sign comes along, Real Hellman's Mayonnaise. We check ID. Of course, in the season of the church year, we're sort of on one of those bridge Sundays. We stop and think about it. Thursday was Ascension Day, and we heard the story of the Ascension from the Acts of the Apostles in one of our readings today. Next Sunday is the Feast of Pentecost, which is the gift of the Holy Spirit upon the disciples. And if we take all of that as kind of a wrap-up of the Easter season, we have encapsulated in these last few weeks just what it means to be a Christian. Stop and think about it. We are people who hold that our God became human, came to earth to show us how to live, died, rose from the dead, conquered death, ascended into heaven in the midst of his disciples, and sends forth the Holy Spirit to empower you and I as modern-day disciples, to give us grace and power, to help us, as John said in the Gospel, be one with God. What a cosmic thought, to be one with God. Kind of makes the potato salad and pulled pork thing a little bit diminished, I think. How can we get a hold of that as people this weekend? How can we get a hold of the fact that we are called to be one with God and agents of God in our world? I think one of the best ways to help us remember we're part of something far greater than ourselves is simply to look at our neighbor and seek God in the people around us. with whom we live our lives. To seek the Holy Spirit in others where we can find it, and to try to radiate and be the Holy Spirit for others in our own lives. It's a tall order, but it's a basic thing to do. But it means that everything that we do has the power to participate in God's will for our world. And we have a choice. We can either seek to be Christ in that moment or not. I'll give you an example of what that might be like. Memorial Day weekend is, of course, really all about remembering our veterans and those who served our country in many, many places and many times in our history. You probably don't know that my father was a Korean War veteran, and he suffered from post-traumatic stress syndrome for the majority of his life, and it was a very, very difficult thing for him to deal with, as many of our veterans do. He was also a member of the Company of Military Historians, of which he was very proud, and I brought the symbol that he had of the Company of Military Historians in to see today. One of the ways my father, near the end of his life, found comfort was to get out his Air Force uniform. He had it dry cleaned, and he researched all of the medals he was entitled to from serving in the Korean theater, and he wrote away and brought whatever he needed to do to get them, and they sent all the medals, and he took great pride in decorating his uniform to the fullest extent it could be decorated. And he put a hook on the outside of his closet door and hung the uniform on the hook so he could see it every day when he went to bed and every day when he woke up. And he told me, he said, "Paul, when I go, I want you to bring this uniform to the Vermont Air National Guard Museum up at Camp Johnson, because I want the Green Mountain Boys to have this uniform." And I promised him I would do that, and when he passed, I dutifully took the uniform and brought it to that museum and went in the front door. There was a young attendant there, and I said, "My father would like to donate this uniform to the museum." And she looked at me and she said, "Oh God, we don't need another one of those." Her supervisor overheard that comment, hurried over, and said, "You know, I served in the Korean theater as well. We would be honored to take this uniform. Would you please sit down and tell me about your father?" That, even though she probably didn't know it, was being Christ for me in that moment. And it was certainly being Christ for my father. So my friends, as we find ourselves with this great commission of trying to be Christ-like, as we find ourselves inheritors of this incredible gift of life and love and eternity, as we try to be disciples, let us remember it's in those little moments, in those little decisions that we make, that connect us with something so vast and huge we can hardly begin to wrap our minds around it. An author of whom I'm particularly fond is Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. He was a 20th century French priest. He was a scientist. He was a paleontologist. He was a mystic. And he came up with this concept he liked to call the hymn of the universe. And to realize that in life, we're all supposed to be singing to God. We're all supposed to be participating in this tremendous hymn that takes us out of ourselves and all that is around us and uplifts God in it and uplifts God in each moment. And I'd like to quote just a little bit of the hymn of the universe. In conclusion today, Dr. Chardin can get a little bit heavy at times, so I hope that you'll bear with me and we can find in these words a little bit of a glimmer of something that takes us into the eternal hymn of the universe. He writes, "One by one, Lord, I see and I love all those whom you have given me to sustain and charm my life. One by one, also, I number all those who make up that other beloved family, which has gradually surrounded me, its unity fashioned out of the most disparate of elements, with affinities of the heart, of scientific research, and of thought. And again, one by one, more vaguely it is true, yet all-inclusively, I call before me the whole vast anonymous army of living humanity. Those who surround me and support me, though I do not know them. Those whose company and those who go on. And above all, those who are in office or laboratory and factory, though their vision of truth, or despite their error, truly believe in the progress of earthly reality, and who today take up again their impassioned pursuit of light. My friends, may we passionately pursue light and love in our world. Amen.